Hi, everyone. It's Nicole Witt, your miracle mentor. And thank you for joining me today as we're on this journey through A Course in Miracles. Today we are in chapter 4, The Illusion of the Ego, and we are on section 4, This Need Not Be. And this is a great section. I got excited when I saw that this is what we got to talk about today. So I'm going to get started. If you cannot hear the voice for God, it is because you do not choose to listen. That you do listen to the voice of your ego is demonstrated by your attitudes, your feelings, and your behavior. Yet, this is what you want. This is what you are fighting to keep and which you are vigilant to save. Your mind is filled with schemes to save the face of your ego, and you do not seek the face of Christ. The glass in which the ego seeks to see its face is dark indeed. How can it maintain the trick of its existence except with mirrors? But where you look to find yourself is up to you. So we spend a lot of time looking for ourselves, whether we call it that. It's the searching, right? The searching for that that fulfillment. Like, I got where I'm supposed to get, right? Like, that's it. I've gotten where I was supposed to go. And, when we're looking in the darkness for it, when we're looking with the eyes of the ego and in the world, that's the big trick, to keep us stuck in there, in this mirror that we've projected from our mind, so that we aren't listening to the voice for God. I have said, and again, this is Jesus when he says I have said that you cannot change your mind by changing your behavior. But I have also said, and many times, that you can change your mind. Okay, so you can't change your mind by changing your behavior. A lot of times we change our behavior, or we attempt to change our behavior because we think it'll change our mind. If I'm 50 pounds skinnier, I'll feel better about myself. I'll like myself more. My mind will be nicer to me, right? If I give up sweets, if I give up smoking, if I give up drinking, whatever it is, like whatever the behavior is that we go to, like, okay, if I can just change me in this way, I'll be happy. If I can change my behavior. And what he's saying is, like, I've told you that doesn't work because he talked about that in the previous section, but you can change your mind. You can't do it with your behavior, but you can do it with your mind. You can change your mind about yourself and find your true self. When your mood tells you that you have chosen wrongly, and this is so whenever you are not joyous, then no, this need not be. So whenever I am not feeling joyous, wholly joyous, I have sided with the ego somewhere. I'm listening to the ego, to darkness somewhere. I'm not looking for the right place for myself. And this is my decision, and it need not be. In every case, you have thought wrongly about some brother God created, and you are perceiving images your ego makes in a darkened glass. Think honestly what you have thought that God would not have thought, and what you have not thought that God would have you think. Okay? So whenever our peace is disturbed, somewhere along the way, we had a thought, either a thought that God would not have us think, or we chose to resist a thought that God would have us think. Search sincerely for what you have done and left undone accordingly, and then change your mind to think with God's. This may seem hard to do, but is much easier than trying to think against it. Your mind is one with God's. Denying this and thinking otherwise has held your ego together, but has literally split your mind. As a loving brother, I am deeply concerned with your mind and urge you to follow my example as you look at yourself and at your brother and see in both the glorious creations of a glorious Father. Okay? So when we are looking out and thinking a judgmental thought or an attack thought or an unloving thought, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same, seeing something that is not there in our brother, then we are reinforcing the split mind. We are reinforcing the ego. And it's all a matter of just recognizing. Again, this is not like you're bad, you need to change this, because that's ego thinking, right? So it's just like, wow, I'm not feeling joyous in this moment. I'm feeling annoyed, disturbed, pissed off, overwhelmed, whatever. And that feeling can only brought about by a thought. It started as a thought. And that thought that brought that not good feeling is not one that God would have me think. Or I'm blocking what God would have me think. I know for myself, a lot of times I get a lot of help from spirit of like, say this, do this. And my inner self goes, no, thank you. Sometimes I recognize it. Sometimes I don't recognize it till after the fact when things have not gone great. And I go, yeah, I had advice to do otherwise, but I didn't follow it. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story right now. I wasn't planned, but a couple months ago, maybe, I was in my house and I had been on my bed reading a book, the Gene Keys book, because I'm dabbling in the Gene Keys. And so my husband and I were going out to dinner and I left the book on my bed. And as I was walking out of the room, I had a thought in my mind, don't leave that there. And I went, no, it'll be fine. And I left. I don't want to go back and pick it up. I don't want to be bothered. It was just a quick thing like, no, thanks. I'm fine. Good. And when I came home, my dog, who is 11 years old, she's way past the chewing up phase. She hasn't destroyed anything in years and years and years, had destroyed that book. It was all over my bed. And all I could do was laugh. Like my husband was kind of upset with the dog, right? And I was like, I can't even be mad at her. Like I was told, don't leave that there. And I chose not to listen. And so that's a great example for me. Like I'm gonna be mad. I got the lesson. Yeah. Like maybe the next time I listen, more and more I am because I keep having experiences like that. Okay. Let's get back to this. Where are we? Your mind is one with God's. Okay, we are on paragraph 3. When you are sad, know this need not be. Depression comes from a sense of being deprived of something you want and do not have. Remember that you are deprived of nothing except by your own decisions and then decide otherwise. So depression comes from a sense of being deprived, but in truth, we're not deprived of anything. That's a story we've made up. When you are anxious, realize that anxiety comes from the capriciousness of the ego and know this need not be. You can be as vigilant against the ego's dictates as for them. And to me, capriciousness of the ego means because as I become more aware of my thoughts, I can see the ego thoughts are completely conflicting back and forth, upside. It changes its mind all the time. Do this. Okay, I did that. No, that was wrong. Do this. Like that, to me, that's capriciousness, like a constant changing of mind. And that causes me anxiety because I can't be sure of anything, right? Okay, so paragraph 5. When you feel guilty, remember that the ego has indeed violated the laws of God, but you have not. Leave the quote-unquote sins of the ego to me. That is what atonement is for. But until you change your mind about those whom your ego has hurt, the atonement cannot release you. While you feel guilty, your ego is in command, because only the ego can experience guilt. This need not be. Watch your mind for the temptations of the ego and do not be deceived by it. It offers you nothing. When you have given up this voluntary dispiriting, you will see how your mind can focus and rise above fatigue and heal. Yet you are not sufficiently vigilant against the demands of the ego to disengage yourself. This need not be. So he's telling you right here that it's up to us to be vigilant and watch our mind and not give in to the temptation of the ego thoughts. So we have to watch our mind. I have to be aware of my thoughts. I have to be aware of my feelings. I have to be aware of like where I am in the moment, if I'm connected to spirit, if I'm thinking unloving thoughts, attack thoughts, if I'm outsourcing my happiness on something outside of me, if I'm thinking that somebody needs to change, whether that's seemingly another person or myself or a situation or something needs to be changed, something needs to be fixed, then that's a temptation of the ego. And so I have to be vigilant for that. And I have to remember that when I'm dispiriting myself like that, I am tired. I'm not accomplishing anything. Like I don't feel good about myself. Okay. And so, but that can all go away when I become more conscious and aware of how much I'm doing that all the time. That is the only purpose, to become aware. Because once becoming aware, we can hand it over to spirit, and spirit does the healing for us. I know that sounds like, what does she mean? But like, that's, once you're willing to let go of it and release it and know the truth instead, that's our only part. And to me, it's like one day I look and I go, wow, I've reacted completely different. I am not as triggered by that situation anymore. Like I'm enjoying it now. Life is different now. That's the miracle. The habit of engaging with God and His creations is easily made if you actively refuse to let your mind slip away. The problem is not one of concentration. It is the belief that no one, including yourself, is worth consistent effort. Side with me consistently against this deception, and do not permit this shabby belief to pull you back. The disheartened are useless to themselves and to me, but only the ego can be disheartened. Okay, so he's saying the reason that we're not vigilant enough is because we don't think we're worth the effort. It's too much effort. It's too hard, and I'm not worth it. Right? Like, we don't believe in what we think what we think the payoff is. Like, I don't know. Could I really have this life of joy and peace? Is that what God really wants for me? And if I don't really believe it, if I believe I have to suffer, if I believe that I have to earn my worth, then this is a lot of hard work. But to be consistent is what you need to do. This is not like read the course and, oh, it's some pretty words. I don't really understand it, but well, I'm going to absorb what it means. No, it's work. These are workbook lessons. It's a course. It's teaching. It's a teaching and it's a learning, and it takes consistent effort. But you're worth it, right? Have you really considered how many opportunities you have had to gladden yourself, and how many of them you have refused? There is no limit to the power of a son of God, but he can limit the expression of his power as much as he chooses. Your mind and mine can unite in shining your ego away, releasing the strength of God into everything you think and do. Do not settle for anything less than this, and refuse to accept anything but this as your goal. Watch your mind carefully for any beliefs that hinder its accomplishment and step away from them. Judge how well you have done this by your own feelings, for this is the one right use of judgment. Judgment, like any other defense, can be used to attack or protect, to hurt or to heal. The ego should be brought to judgment and found wanting there. Without your own allegiance, protection, and love, the ego cannot exist. Let it be judged truly, and you must withdraw allegiance, protection, and love from it. So when we use judgment in the right sense to judge how am I feeling, where am I, what voice am I listening to, and we judge the payoff of listening to the ego, then we'll make the right choice. This is the one use of judgment. The ego should be brought to judgment and found wanting there. That it has nothing to offer us that we want, that we really want. The ego wants what it has to offer because it keeps it going. But our true self, our spirit, we're not interested in any of that. It's nonsense. It's meaningless nonsense that is zapping our ability to be light in this world. You are a mirror of truth in which God himself shines in perfect light. To the ego's dark glass, you need but say, I will not look there because I know these images are not true. Then let the Holy One shine on you in peace, knowing that this and only this must be. His mind shone on you in your creation and brought your mind into being. His mind still shines on you and must shine through you. Your ego cannot prevent him from shining on you, but it can prevent you from letting him shine through you. Okay, so that's the whole game. As long as the ego keeps us in this judgment of others, judgment of how our life is, things need to change in that hamster wheel, then then the light cannot shine through us. It's always shining on us because God is always shining the light. He doesn't take it away from us, no matter what we're thinking, doing, how much time we spend in dark land, ego land. God doesn't care. He's always shining his light on us. But we are not open to let it in and through us, and therefore out in the world through us and into our experience, if we are listening to the ego more than spirit. And the more we shift, the more time we spend in truth instead of darkness, then the more we want to spend there, because the more we know what it feels like. We know the true payoff. The first coming of Christ is merely another name for the creation, for Christ is the Son of God. The second coming of Christ means nothing more than the end of the ego's rule and the healing of the mind. I was created like you in the first, and I have called you to join with me in the second. I am in charge of the second coming, and my judgment, which is used only for protection, cannot be wrong because it never attacks. Yours may be so distorted that you believe I was mistaken in choosing you. I assure you, this is a mistake of your ego. Do not mistake it for humility. So he's saying, your ego may be telling you that you're not worthy to be a channel of God or a channel of Jesus, or that Jesus shouldn't have picked you. Like, did he pick us? If we're reading this book and we are intrigued, excited, brought to life by it, then yes, and this is your path, and you were picked by Jesus for this path. And everyone is picked by Jesus, right? So it's just different paths. But he's saying I picked everybody, including you. There's no one who's not worthy. Your ego is trying to convince you that it is real, and I am not. Because if I am real, I am no more real than you are. That knowledge, and I assure you that it is knowledge, means that Christ has come into your mind and healed it. I do not attack your ego. I do work with your higher mind, the home of the Holy Spirit, whether you are asleep or awake, just as your ego does with your lower mind, which is its home. I am your vigilance in this, because you are too confused to recognize your own hope. I am not mistaken. Your mind will elect to join with mine, and together we are invincible. You and your brother will yet come together in my name, and your sanity will be restored. I raise the dead by knowing that life is an eternal attribute of everything that the living God created. Why do you believe it is harder for me to inspire the dispirited or to stabilize the unstable? I do not believe that there is an order of difficulty in miracles. You do. I have called and you will answer. I understand that miracles are natural because they are expressions of love. My calling you is as natural as your answer and as inevitable. Okay, so Jesus is saying, look, guys, I'm here. You will let me help you. Maybe not today, maybe not next year, maybe not this circle of life that you're in right now, but you will. And I wait patiently, and that's awesome. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Take this with you in your day today and in your next following days, like really watching your mind and seeing when you are embedded in ego thoughts and ego thinking. Have a great day. Bye-bye.